All right, hello there, welcome back to another wee bit different video. Today's video, we are going to be recapping everything that you may or may not have missed for week 15. All the games that you didn't want to watch and you thought, or the games that you did watch and you just want to relive that moment. We are going to do all of that. This is a long list because there was no buys this week. So week 15, starting with the first game, Thursday night, Rams versus 49ers. This one was a very boring game. Literally no touchdowns that were thrown or run. It was just a defensive masterclass, if you will, or an offensive disaster class. I'll let you be the one to decide. Well, then again, for those of you that didn't watch, let me just be honest. It was a bit of both. It was really just ugly, to be honest with you. I think the thing that everyone talks about is, what is his name? Devondre Campbell? Is that his name? I'm going to find out his name right now because people were going bananas over this whole ordeal, which deservedly so, they should. And I don't even see him on here on the stat sheet. Did bro not even make a single tackle? Oh my gosh. So the story is player for the 49ers, defensive player, last name Campbell. I thought I'd seen him on the stat sheet. He's not even on the stat sheet. That's crazy. Anyway, left the game during the mid-third quarter, I want to say. He just left. So 49ers, instead of cutting him, they suspended him without pay so that one, he's out for the remainder of the season and he can't sign with another team. But two, they don't have to pay him anything. So instead of cutting him, you know what I mean? He gets to go on another team and he can be rewarded. Not saying another team would sign him, but that would still be rough. So they're like, no, you're not getting paid and you're not going on another team. Your season is over. So good for the 49ers for really taking control of that situation and saying, nah, bro, that's not acceptable, because to be honest, it's not. Saints and Commanders. The Saints were down the whole game this one, and then they turned up in the late third quarter and then fourth quarter. It was an impressive little run that they had going on there. And if you're the Commanders, obviously that's frustrating because you really feel like this Saints team shouldn't be taking you guys the distance and making it come down to a 2-point conversion for the game. The Saints scored a touchdown to make it 20-19. Then they go for the 2-point conversion. They fail. But if you're a Commanders fan, you're just like, these are the kind of teams you got to just outright beat. You have to just outright beat these teams. Jaden Daniels, 226 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 66 rushing yards. So, not necessarily a bad game from him, but the run game was just stuck all day. Brian Robinson could not really get himself going. Not an ideal, like I said, not an ideal game for the Commanders in terms of how they handled the second half. Chiefs and Browns, Patrick Mahomes gets a high ankle sprain. And, I feel like every year there's always something that happens and Patrick Mahomes ends up leading them to the playoffs, to a crazy run and some crazy results. Like, I'm just at this point, I'm so desensitized to it. So Chiefs win in a very boring game against the Browns. To be honest with you, Jameis Winston did not cook at all. Typically you get touchdowns and interceptions with Jameis Winston, but he got benched because he was missing the touchdowns part. Anyhow, Dorian Thompson-Robinson is going to start the Week 16 game. The Week 16 game against the Bengals for the Browns. Bengals and Titans. This was probably one of the most ugliest football games I've ever seen in my life. I believe it was 11 or 12. I want to say 11 total turnovers from both teams and 30 plus flags or some disgusting number like that. It was, again, probably the ugliest football game you'll ever see in terms of just both teams making way too many errors. Will Levis played absolutely terrible. So bad that he got benched. 8 for 12, but 3 interceptions on only 12 pass attempts is egregious. Dolphins, Texans. Tua Tagovailoa making way too many big errors, way too many mistakes, turning the ball over. I think it was, 3 interceptions and a fumble. Horrible outing for Tua. Horrible. Texans offense did not look great again, but they do enough. They do enough to win 20-12. Dolphins season is practically over after losing this must-win game. But, I mean, technically, you never know. Mathematically, I don't think they're eliminated, so you never know, but they're screwed. Ravens and Giants. Lamar Jackson, 5 passing touchdowns. Derrick Henry didn't need to do much, only 67 rushing yards, but the big plays were made when they needed to be made for this Ravens team. a lot of them, or 2 of them, to Rashad Bateman for those longer touchdown passes, and just real simple football for the Ravens in terms of just pure domination. Didn't have to have anything extra going on. You just kind of let Lamar be Lamar, and plays were made. Really that straightforward. The Giants offense did not look great, and Tommy DeVito got hurt, and what's his name? Drew Lock is still hurt. So Tim Boyle starting next week against Falcons, maybe. We'll see. Jets and Jaguars. Wow. I mean, 2 bad teams squaring up, really fighting for pride here. Aaron Rodgers, 3 passing touchdowns. And guess who's come alive? Davante Adams, 9 catches, 198 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. 111, I believe, came in the 4th quarter, or they came in the last 4 minutes of the 4th quarter. It was bananas. Absolutely bananas that unfolded the way it did. But okay. You know, a little throwback there. Aaron Rodgers to Davante Adams connection where they both go off. Brian Thomas Jr. also having a phenomenal game for the Jaguars. He is such an exciting piece for this future of the Jaguars. It is pretty crazy to think about because he's in his rookie season doing what he's doing. 1,000+ receiving yards. Just absolute stud player. These LSU receivers, man. These LSU receivers are crazy. Cowboys and Panthers. I mean, I don't even have a lot to say other than I'm surprised that the Cowboys dominated the way that they did. You know, Bryce Young had his mistakes, but he looked pretty solid throughout. CeeDee Lamb had a phenomenal first half, and then kind of like always, he kind of just fades out in the second half. But in this game, it makes sense, though, just because they kind of ran away with the lead, the Cowboys did. So, makes a little bit more sense. But, wow. I was impressed with Cooper Rush making the throws he had to make. 3 passing touchdowns, 18 for 29. Rico Dowdle looks phenomenal. Makes you wonder why he wasn't the guy from the start of the season, but hey, he's doing it now. 149 rushing yards. Buccaneers and Chargers. You know, this one's a surprise because I didn't think, and you wouldn't think, that the Chargers would really get blown up on, considering their defense has been so good. But they got absolutely mashed. And damn, Buccaneers 40 points against one of the better defenses in the league. Chargers just could not keep up with it offensively. That's not what they do. They're not an offensive powerhouse. They really rely on their defense, and their defense just got blown up on. So, Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, phenomenal games. What is there to say other than unexpected? But, I mean, we all know how good Mike Evans is, and he's really going to be pushing for 1,000 receiving yards for the 11th straight season, I believe, is what it was. Colts, Broncos. I mean, this game had its highlights. They had the trick play. They went for a pick 6. The Colts ran a trick play. They threw it backwards and tried to throw it forward. That throw forward was a pick 6. And then Jonathan Taylor running for what should have been a 41-yard rushing touchdown, but dropping the ball at the 1-yard line, then goes for a touchback. Absolute blunder, a mistake for a player that's so seasoned. You know, he's had so many touchdowns in his career. That's just crazy. Broncos pull away 31-13. Bo Nix had a really, really rough game. Really, really rough game. 20 for 33, 130 passing yards, 3 touchdowns with 3 interceptions. It's just not. That's not what you want to see. But you take the win. Ugly wins is still a win. Cardinals, Patriots. This one was pretty boring, to be honest with you. I mean, there was some highlight plays for sure because James Conner is a freaking beast, man. But Kyler Murray, you know what I mean? I'm just not used to him being super mid. I mean, he's having some really good games, but more often than not, he's been pretty freaking mid. Mixed plays, but again, I think a lot of it has to do with the offensive coordinator. But man, 224 passing yards, only 11 rushing yards. I'd like to see him explode more than what he's doing right now. Bills and Lions was literally a defensive disaster class and an offensive powerhouse. Bills look unbeatable kind of shit. I mean, this Bills offense is unreal. It is unexpected, though, to see the Bills defense be this bad the past 2 weeks, allowing 42 and then 44 to the Rams, some really high number. Anyhow, you got to give credit to Jared Goff for having 5 touchdown passes, but ultimately the Lions are just having too many injuries. They had a lot of losses and injuries this game. One of the more notable names is David Montgomery on the offensive end, but the majority of them be defensive players, and this Lions defense has had so many injuries. They are in huge trouble for the playoffs, not because of their offense, but they're just going to be a glass cannon. They're going to be able to get in so many shootouts and maybe win some, but their defense is just Bengals level bad right now, where they're down so many players. They got practice squad players playing in their games right now, and it's tough, but we'll see. If there's anyone that can do it, I'd say Lions are one of like 3 teams. One of the other teams is Plot Armor Chiefs. And then I have to think about the other team. Maybe the Bills, because the Bills, again, they're getting exploded on, but they're just fighting fire with fire, and their stuff is heavier. Anyway, Steelers and Eagles. The Eagles just dismantled the Steelers defense. It was just a clinic. Running the ball when they had to. Jalen Hurts getting those 10-yard carries, 5-yard carries. And then Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown finally feasting. I mean, the second half, the Steelers only had the ball for 2 possessions. And on one of those possessions, they were looking like they were going to go and score. Najee Harris fumbles the ball. Horrible timed fumble, but Eagles, man, they're just crazy. That team is just crazy. They can do it from the ground and the air. They're just insane. Packers and Seahawks, I mean, I feel like everyone kind of knew the outcome of this game before the game really panned out, unless you're a Seahawks fan. This Packers team has just been so consistent versus a Seahawks team that has been kind of up and down, up and down, up and down. But like I said, the Packers team, Jordan Love has been ultra consistent, not making too many mistakes, staying within himself, making the big plays when he has to. And Josh Jacobs has just been getting touchdowns. I mean, he only got 1 rushing touchdown, surprisingly, today. But you got to be happy about the output from this team. The Packers just look so freaking good. Super smooth offense. And they made the Seahawks offense work for it on the defensive end. Really impressive outing for the Packers. Going into our Monday games, Bears and Vikings. I just feel terrible for Caleb Williams. He has a horrible offensive line right now. He's getting just absolutely jammed on. Vikings, though, love the tribute to Randy Moss, showing respect to him, holding his jersey at the coin toss, and Justin Jefferson catching the touchdown, saying, "I love you, we love you, Randy." It was really cool to see. And Falcons and Raiders, the final game, and this was horrible. Kirk Cousins looks so bad. He looks terrible. This Raiders defense is not good. Kirk Cousins 11 for 17, only 112 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. There's just no excuse for it. He's been horrible. He's been absolutely horrible. Bijan Robinson, 125 rushing yards. Now he looks great. On the flip side, though, the Falcons defense did their job, limiting the Raiders to 9 points, having some field goal blocks, which is okay. All of a sudden, these guys really want to show out. Because to be honest with you, this team had just been struggling, losing 4 in a row. Let's check this out right now. They lost to the Vikings, they lost to the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Saints. 4 in a row. That's but ultimately I think it does come down to they need better quarterback play. Raheem Morris said it after the game. They need Kirk Cousins to be better. That's just the truth. You can't reliably win games when your quarterback is just playing this bad. And he's been that bad. It's just the truth. We had a hectic slate this past week. Let me know what you guys think. What game did you watch and think, damn, this game's crazy? Or what game did you watch and think, damn, this game's boring? There was a lot of hype with some of these games. A lot of these games filled in that hype. Some of the other ones, not so much. Anyway, I greatly appreciate you guys for watching. This is Ollie Been Different. We've been different. And we out.